Hello, Curious, and welcome back. Recently, the internet could not have stopped talking about the news announced by the former adult movie star Lana Rhoades. And no, it was not her revealing that she was coming back into the adult movie industry, but rather that she was expecting a baby. Right away, fans of the podcast host, as well as her 16.3 million Instagram followers, began speculating who the father of the child could be, and to this day, they're trying to figure it out. So who are the three men suspected of being Lana's baby's daddy? How did her ex, YouTuber and podcast host Mike Majlak, react to the news, and could he be the one? Why had so many people criticized the young mom-to-be, and why is she going to need therapy? Stay with us until the very end to find out all the latest news about Rhoades and her surprising news, but before we continue, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, turn on the notifications, and subscribe to our channel so that you stay up to date with all of the hottest celebrity gossip. Before we jump right into finding out who Lana's baby daddy could be, let's look back a bit at one of her most profile relationships, and that would be with the aforementioned Mike Majlak. The two started dating in mid-January last year after they were introduced by Mike's friend Logan Paul. And while their fans loved them together, their relationship was a bit rocky as they were on and off again for some time, but that has finally come to an end for good in February of this year. And if you want to know more about Lana and what the two of them were like together, you can check out our previous video by clicking on the link above. But for now, make sure you stay with us until the very end to find out who the baby daddy could be. Following their split, Rhoades deleted all of their photos together from her social media, and that had fans wondering what had happened to make her do this, and the 24-year-old wasn't going to waste any time and beat around the bush, so she took to her Instagram story and at the time set the record straight. Posting a photo of herself, she wrote, "The reason Mike is not on my Instagram is because we are not together. I am single, we are broken up and not getting back together this time. Now leave me alone about this." At the time, they had called it a mutual decision and blamed it on constant fighting, which was draining, but that couldn't be the end of the drama surrounding the two of them, as several weeks later, Lana took to her social media to post recent screenshots of lists of pros and cons of dating that Majlak had sent her. And people reacted as you could imagine they did. Many were outraged and some, for a long time, had accused the podcaster of his narcissistic behavior, and as according to them, he frequently dismissed and interrupted Rhoades, as well as spoke over and interrupted guests on Logan Paul's podcast called Impulsive, and had said that this was proof that the behavior and that it was the real reason for their split. But whatever the real reason the two called it quits, it wouldn't be the last time they were in one way or another linked together, so make sure you stay with us until the very end to find out why some had speculated that they have gotten back together. And from making a lot of noise about one thing to another, as outrage over Majlak's list had barely died down when Lana gave people another thing to talk about, when on June 2nd she posted a photo of a sonogram with the caption, "This is the announcement," later on their podcast revealing that it's a boy. And to say that fans were surprised would have been an understatement. But as the photo was liked by more than 2 million people, there were a lot of negative comments from the online trolls, and many had called the star disgusting for having a child, giving her reputation and past job. Others have said that they felt sorry for the kid and they hoped that he would never Google his mother. And there was also plenty of other comments that assumed the pregnancy was an accident and that the child would be fatherless. And so the topic of the father brings us to the big guessing game that has been taking place online since the announcement. Who is Lana Rhoades' baby daddy? And this was something that she herself has not yet revealed. And this of course has made everyone go crazy with trying to figure out who it could be. So let's look at who the contenders for the possible fathers are. Of course, the number one suspect was the man with whom she was with just over a year for, and that would have been Majlak. Above the sonogram, the words due date 13th of January 22, here it could be said that this would mean that it's not possible for Mike to be the dad, as the couple officially broke up in February. And looking at the due date, it can be speculated that the baby was conceived around April or May of this year. But as some had pointed out online, given the fact that they were on and off again for a while, maybe the two of them had gotten back together for one final goodbye. And most certainly, the YouTuber's since deleted tweet jokingly asking how to contact the infamous Maury show was most likely insinuating that he wanted to determine the baby's paternity did not help the rumors. But that didn't last long, as he later clarified with his appearance on the Impulsive podcast that he was not the father by saying, roughly a few months ago, me and the absolute stunning, sweet, beautiful, great pregnant Lana split up. During that time, I started to see other people, and she also started seeing someone specifically during that time. We remained friends, we continued talking, and the result of her interactions with the said new person resulted in a bun in the oven. So if not Mike, then who else? Another name that has come up has been NBA player Kevin Durant. Why? Well, on an episode of Lana's own podcast, 3 Girls, 1 Kitchen, she had opened up about a certain basketball player for the Brooklyn Nets that had asked her out on a date. And she did not mention anyone by name, but said that the player in question was a Libra. And her fans did some digging because why not? Reportedly, the only Libra on the team is Kevin. But don't get excited about another Lana Rhoades love story, as she didn't praise her date all that much, calling him boring and saying that he wasn't spicy enough for her taste. And not to mention her revelation that the athlete had brought another woman as a backup date. And while it sounds that things weren't off to a great start, it didn't stop the internet from speculating, especially since neither is committed to deny that. Given that fans are insatiable, there's also been a third name thrown around the mix, and though not as much as the previous two, the third man in question is TikToker and YouTuber Bryce Hall. Why him, you ask? Because the two of them allegedly got caught in a cheating scandal last year where they were accused of going behind Mike's back. And the fact that Hollywood Fix caught them out at a restaurant was enough to get people talking, but that was all the way back in September of last year. Though with Lana's lack of information, anything could be possible, and fans like to guess. While some took fun at trying to figure out the identity of her baby daddy, others weren't as nice, and we mentioned before how many thought the pregnancy was an accident and that the kid would grow up without a father as she didn't know who it was. And it seems that Lana had enough of these comments because when someone commented on her post saying that it would be bad if she was a random guy that she took to her social media to set things straight and say, no one said anything about random. Lol, y'all need to stop with the assumptions. Could be a sperm donor, could be my ex-husband, could be a new boyfriend, could be a hookup. Guess you'll never know. And when yet another person replied to her post asking who the dad was, she said that being in a public relationship a year prior to this taught her a few things, and she learned that there are some things that she wants to keep private, and this being one of them. And here it is also worth pointing out that there have been plenty of A-list celebrities who have kept the identity of their baby's father secret in a desire for some privacy, and some of these include Mad Men star January Jones. The biological father of Jodie Foster's son has also been widely speculated, and most recently, supermodel Naomi Campbell had everyone trying to figure out who the father of her daughter is. And if you want to know more about Campbell, why not check out our previous video by clicking on the link above. Of course, some were not satisfied by her decision to keep things to herself, and assuming that she's lying, they claim that after her split with Mike, she didn't want to be alone and decided to have a baby. But here it is worth pointing out that Lana has been saying that she wanted to have children for a long time. And even back when she was in a relationship with Majlak, she often talked about the fact that she wanted to have children, and on more than one occasion. And surely she must really be excited about finally becoming a mother, as Mike spoke about this more and previously mentioned on an episode of his Impulsive podcast. He claimed that Rhoades is ecstatic about her new baby, and that he even revealed that she had previously lost a child in a previous relationship, and that having a kid is the one thing that she has always wanted. But given Lana's past profession, which she did for only a year, but which to this day has solidified her as the most searched star on an adult video site, has meant that many are questioning whether she will be fit to be a mom. But from her podcast, it's clear that she has taken a lot of time to think about this and wants to give her son the best possible life she can. And as it turns out, she wants to see a therapist first due to her past trauma. And during this episode, she said that due to her past experiences with men and how she feels about them in general, is that they are all bad. And this most likely stems from her experiences as an adult star, about which she opened up earlier this year when she said that some of the humiliating scenes that she had to film left her psychologically scarred for her life and were ultimately the reason that she had quit the industry. And she also said that she plans to raise her son the right way that she knows, and to respect women, and that the #1 goal is to not mess up her kid. And since we're speaking about the adult industry, why not check out our previous video to find out how people have been making money on sites such as OnlyFans, and you can do so by clicking on the link above. So curious, were you surprised by Lana Rhoades' pregnancy announcement? Do you think that her past as an adult star will come back to haunt her as a mother? Do you think the father of the child is one of the 3 men previously mentioned or someone else? And in your opinion, should people demand who the baby daddy is? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time!